Here's how you can double your leads at your next trade show while minimizing the level of stress leading up to it. Hey guys, my name is Ryan. I am a trade show engagement specialist, and here's how you can do just that. So I live in the suburbs of Boston, so I'm able to go into town and attend these trade shows and just walk around and kind of see what different companies are doing to try to get people's attention. And honestly, a lot of them suck. The companies themselves are probably really good and their products or services are probably really good, but most of the trade show booths that I walk by, the people are just standing around, they're chit-chatting with themselves, they're snacking, they're on their phones, and most of them don't come up and engage me, and I don't end up talking with them unless I'm the one that goes up to them first. And I get this. Exhibiting at trade shows can be really tough. You have to be on your feet for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, talking with hundreds of random strangers who honestly, most of them probably would not be interested in your product or service, even if you got to the sales pitch portion of it. And this is significant. The average trade show in the United States costs about $30,000 to attend. So the only reason why any company would want to exhibit is because they think that they can get more money in the leads they're going to get from that show than the $30,000+ they're spending to be there. So to help ensure that you're not only hitting your company's goals, but vastly exceeding them, in some cases even doubling them, you are going to want to keep 4 key things in mind: preparation, attraction, engagement, and follow-up. Companies spend months preparing for an upcoming trade show. Now, this can be ranging from planning the booth design to planning lodging and travel expenses for their employees, who's going to cover their jobs back at the office, etc., etc. Just a ton of planning that goes into trade shows. And all this is great. It lays the groundwork for a pretty good trade show. But you see, checking all of these boxes for the preparation for the trade show, all it does is put you on par with the lowest common denominator of companies that are going to be there. Meaning that if you want to stand out, if you want any chance of standing out from the competition and getting an above average amount of leads, you are going to have to take your preparation a few steps further. While most other companies are going to wait for the show to begin to start promoting their business, you can actually start months in advance. You see, when you're exhibiting at a trade show, you're telling a story. Now, this story can be about how your marketing business might yield your customers a 10% higher ROI than the industry average, or how the particular part that you manufacture might last twice as long as the leading brand. This is the story that you tell. But it goes a lot deeper than that. See, your story is designed to invoke emotional responses. Think about how Apple, when you think about Apple, you think of innovation. When you think about Nike, you think of athletics. These brands tell their story through marketing and advertising, and that's exactly what you are trying to do at trade shows, whether you have made that conscious decision or not. Now, if you don't know what kind of story you're telling, then I think the next step would just be to turn off this video and go figure that out. But once you know the story that you want to tell through your branding at the trade show and through all the branding leading up to it, then you can begin telling your audience that story through social media. Now, this serves 2 purposes. First, this will help your company stand out from the rest. Unless you're an Apple or Google, you're probably not going to have the shiniest, most attractive booth on the trade show floor. And when you're exhibiting next to 499 other companies, it's really easy to get lost in that gigantic sea. But starting your story on social media in the weeks or months leading up to the trade show will allow you to engage with those potential leads before they even step foot on the floor. So once they step foot on the floor and they see all these other companies, your company is going to stand out because you have already hit them 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different times with Facebook posts, Instagram Reels, TikToks, etc. Whatever your marketing funnel is, you can reach those trade show attendees before any other company will have the chance to reach them. And second, it allows you to connect with potential leads who are not going to be on the showroom floor. You see, although this trade show might have thousands and thousands and thousands of people in attendance, that pales in comparison to the amount of leads that are sitting at home or that might want to be at the trade show but for whatever reason can't be there. If you begin a social media campaign leading up to a trade show, specifically with that trade show in mind and with whatever promotions you're going to be selling at the trade show or stories you're going to be telling, you can engage with potential leads who would otherwise want to be on the showroom floor with you, but for whatever reason aren't going to be able to be there. Now, this is a huge pool of leads that the other 499 companies on the showroom floor might just be ignoring because they're just focused solely on this, the few thousand that are actually going to be walking by their booth. Now, number 2 is attraction. This is a problem that's as old as trade shows themselves. Once you have put in the heavy work ahead of time and you are now on the showroom floor, you have your booth, you have, the marketing and everything, and the customers are walking by, how do you attract them to your booth? You can't do just the bowl of candy or the people standing around waiting for customers to approach them. Like I mentioned, I would see at trade shows in Boston. You need to do something to stand out from the rest because, like I said, a bowl of candy, some cheap giveaways, some salespeople who are waiting around on their phones, waiting for potential leads to come to them, that is putting you on par with the lowest common denominator. You got to take it a step up. For starters, you can contact a trade publication. I'm sure there's a few of them in your niche, and if your marketing team can swing your story to a unique angle that would be beneficial to the publication's audience, that could be a great way to get some free publicity leading up to the show. Now, when you're actually on the showroom floor, you need to do something fun, like something that people are actually going to want to talk about and will be telling other people about. Now, this could be a photo booth set up at your exhibit. It could be some trivia that you have going on, maybe even karaoke. It could also be a scavenger hunt that sends people across the showroom floor looking for clues. In fact, I was at a boat show once, and one of the fishing rod manufacturers actually had a 30-foot pool set up with like this little platform. The pool was probably 5 feet tall. He was up on a platform and he was demonstrating how this fishing rod, this particular reel, cast better than all the rest or something like that. It was a really cool thing. It was a sight to see that you could see from all the way across the showroom floor, and this guy had a constant audience around him watching this. It was really cool, really fun way to stand out from the crowd. But you don't have to go for some crazy kind of entertainment like that. Instead, you could swing in a different direction. You could create a relaxing oasis for your potential leads and for everybody else to chill out in. This could be a nice lounge area with comfortable couches, light refreshments. You could even hire a barista to make complimentary lattes and espresso drinks for these people. Now, this is a really cool idea because walking around a trade show floor, it's easy to get parched, it's easy to get tired. And if you are offering people a nice place to sit down, a comfortable place, give them coffees, give them light refreshments, they are in a perfect mood for you to walk up and to eventually lead them into your sales pitch. And if you have the budget for this, do a giveaway, but like not a $50 Amazon gift card giveaway. No, if you are going to do a giveaway, go big or go home. Have something that people are actually going to want to talk about. I'm talking ATVs, cars, maybe even a boat, like something that people are going to be talking about throughout the entire event. The third thing you want to keep in mind is engagement. Now, engagement goes hand in hand with attention because once you have gotten their attention, that's not enough. They're going to walk away after 30 seconds if you can't keep their attention. So once you get their attention, you need to have a plan to keep these people engaged. Now, the biggest pitfall to engagement is actually not having an effective booth. This can be getting somebody up, talking with them, they're interested, and then you go to get their information and put it into whatever lead generation funnel that you have planned, and things don't quite go as planned. Maybe it's some clunky form they have to fill out with 100 different lines on it, or maybe it's a piece of technology that isn't quite working right that day. Any little bit of friction between you and getting their lead information, any little bit of friction is going to cause them to walk away from the booth, or it's going to be one more factor leading them to walk away from the booth. So eliminate as much friction as possible and make the entire process totally seamless. You also want to ask open-ended questions. Don't monologue with them with your sales pitch as if you're reading it from a memorized script. Have a dialogue with them. Ask them questions. Try to find out what their pain points are. And once you find out what these pain points are, show them how your company's product or service can solve this pain point. Believe me, that is the most effective marketing strategy that you can come up with. Identify an issue they have in their lives and show them how your company can solve that issue. And finally, the fourth thing to do is to follow up. Once the trade show ends, once you're back home, once you're back in the office, the show isn't really over. You need to follow up with them. And what's great about follow-ups is you should actually try to mention things that they might have mentioned to you. Like, did Joe mention that he bought a new boat? Great, ask him if he's been out on it anytime soon. Did Sally mention that her mother just moved in with her? Great, ask her how her mother's doing. Like, any little bits of personal details, things like that they might have mentioned to you in conversation, write that stuff down. And when you do your follow-up with them, include that in there, because this shows them this isn't just a generic follow-up that you're sending to the dozens or the hundreds of leads that you got at this expo. You remember this person, you remember their face, you remember these details about them, and you're making this personalized follow-up to them. Believe me, it's going to really make them feel heard by your company. And in most cases, that first follow-up email should probably be 1 to 2 days after the show ends. So there you have it, folks. Those are the 4 things you need to keep in mind to double your leads for your next trade show: preparation, attraction, engagement, and follow-up. Use this video as a springboard to tailor these things to fit your product, your service, your company's message. It's going to look totally different for everybody. That's the way it should, but use this as a springboard and go out there and get those leads.